Hey, everybody, welcome to the Tech Intersect Podcast. I am your fearless host, Dr. Tanya M. Evans. Tech Intersect Podcast is where technology and law meet at the intersection of law, business, and technology in the future of work, wealth, and innovation. So today's a really special episode. Sometimes I have guests on, but this is a solo episode, excuse me, to reflect on a fantastic, a riveting, and engaging and informative first session of the Black Women and Wealth series that I have partnered with the Harlem Book Fair and also Harriet's Bookshop to actually do. We held that last night, March 7th. Incredible. If you didn't have a chance to participate or you're not yet registered, please head on over to advantageevans.com forward slash women and wealth. advantageevans.com/women and wealth, and join us for the next session. So about a little bit about the series. Black Women in Wealth is a virtual author chat, completely free. It's really in recognition of the economic, business, and leadership contributions of Black women from the time of the forced arrival of the enslaved Africans on this continent as we journey up until the present and into the future. So Max Rodriguez from the Harlem Book Fair and I have curated this series of conversations in partnership with Harriet's Bookshop in order to explore a very nuanced, very complicated landscape of financial empowerment and wealth accumulation, specifically for Black women. Now, the series is not specifically for Black women because the contributions from Black women are not just Black history or women's history, that's American history, and indeed the history of the world. And the cornerstone of our series will rest on a collective mission in order to dissect the past, to tackle the present, and to unlock the future of wealth in the digital age. It offers strategies and knowledge to navigate this ever-evolving digital asset economy. We're also very invested in supporting Black-owned businesses. So in particular, as I've mentioned, Harriet's Bookshop. It's a gem of a store. It's more than a store, it's an experience. It's a real gem owned by a Black woman in Philadelphia. And so this collaboration is particularly special to me as Harriet serves as the featured vendor for this month, not only of my book, Digital Money Demystified, but of all of the authors. I'll say more about that in a moment, and every book that we highlight along the way in this particular series. So in my book, for those who are not familiar, I went along this mission to peel back the layers of complexity, to separate fact from fiction in the digital asset space that deals with cryptocurrencies in particular. It provides a clear, simple, actionable path, one, to figure out what digital currencies are, what crypto is, what blockchain is, some of the biggest and most pervasive myths in the space, in order to usher people and support people to and through and on an actionable path to financial literacy and independence. And the value of the book is immeasurably enhanced, not an overstatement, because of the contributions of two remarkable women who are themselves trailblazers in the financial world. So first, shout out to Arlen Hamilton of Backstage Capital and Lynette Calfani Cox, widely recognized as the money coach. We'll hear more from them specifically in the series finale on March 28th. So be sure you are registered to attend, but I want to tell you a little bit about each of them right now because they're so important. I want to make sure that they are on your radar. They've been constant mentors and friends to me, and I want to make sure that you know of them. So Arlen Hamilton's story, it's one of resilience, determination, breaking barriers in the venture capital ecosystem in particular. Her founding mission at Backstage Capital to reduce funding disparities in technology by supporting underrepresented or underestimated, as we like to say, underestimated founders. That is a testament to the transformative potential of inclusive investment, a bottom line boon for anyone who's actually paying attention to dollars and cents. And Arlen's forward in my book underlines the critical role of belief and support in unleashing the untapped potential of marginalized communities. So thank you to Arlen. And certainly Lynette. So the money coach, she brings her vast experience in personal finance to the fore. She guides individuals toward achieving financial freedom. She has a new book out, as does Arlen. You can learn more about that at the registration website for sure. Lynette's insights, especially about the promise and the potential of cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin for Black investors, absolutely enriched the narrative of my own story in Digital Money Demystified. I share my process of learning and unlearning some of the pervasive myths, right sizing the conversation, finding the kernels of truth, and exploring them from a fact-based and a data-based exploration of what digital currencies are, the power, the promise, the pitfalls, so that we move in a more prudent fashion. But Lynette gave so much to the book, but in particular, her advice on what this means for the Black community, and not leaving it as a footnote, but making sure that there is a tie that binds throughout the book, but certainly in the chapter that challenges the myth that crypto is just for quote unquote fintech bros or financial bros, tech bros, crypto bros. And so I won't steal the thunder from that. We'll be talking more about it on March 28th when Arlen and Lynette join me in the finale of the session. Now, as we progress through the series, Black Women in Wealth, I highlight significant contributions of Black women to America's fortune, even and especially in times of their own expense. We delve into historical context with figures who I actually just learned about in my research, Mary Ellen Pleasant, for example, to highlighting contemporary and future forward leaders like dear friend Cleve Messidor, Olayinka Odeniran, Lisa Francoeur, Hey Fancified, Sheena Allen, who I definitely have to get on this podcast at some point. And also shout out to Charlene Federico. She is a dynamo. She has done so much in particular of impact on the continent of Africa and various countries. She also, I didn't get a chance to hug her in person. I was a finalist for FinTech Person of the Year, the Black Technology Achievement Awards, held for the first time in the United States in New York, been held in the UK for the past 5 years. Charlene actually won. And so we want to give her her flowers for all of her significant contributions. I'll be introducing you to folks like that, many more, as we build a comprehensive understanding of the economic underpinnings of a race-based caste system. And it's a mouthful, but it's important that I say it in that way. I'm currently reading Caste by Isabel Wilkerson. I saw the movie a couple of weeks ago, changed my whole understanding and relationship of race as the convenient tool here in the United States in order to entrench and codify a caste-based system where you separate the privileged from not. But that dividing line is not always about race. Sometimes it could be about religion. When you think of Nazi Germany and the extermination of Jews, when you think of the Dalits or the untouchables of India. And so most people there share the same or similar skin color. So it's not about race, but about a hierarchy that separates on dividing lines. So we look at that as well, and look through our experience in the United States, that the tool is this social construct of race. It could be eye color, it could be height, it could be anything, and until we actually understand that it all comes down to economics and the dividing line where the haves are served by the have-nots. The way that that is distinguished and determined may be different, but the result is largely the same. So anyway, we will take a look at that in terms of our exploration and continuing education in order to correct our collective miseducation. It's crucial for appreciating why the emergence of a distributed and decentralized economic system offers a groundbreaking avenue for Black free from discriminatory impediments, um, and limitations and barriers of the past. So I invite you to join us in this transformative series. Together, we will navigate the complexities of the digital asset economy. We'll draw inspiration from past and present figures who have pioneered paths to economic justice and freedom against all odds. So again, register now at advantageevans.com/women and wealth, and embark on this journey to financial empowerment, equipped with the knowledge and bolstered by an empowering community. I think, and hopefully by the end of this month, you will agree that this is more than a series. It's actually a movement. I feel the momentum towards really reclaiming financial destinies, and I invite you and encourage you to dive in. All right. So last night we embarked on a historical journey, as I mentioned, talk about the past, uh, and the underpinnings of a race-based caste system. And there are three takeaways that I want to share with you. I'll expound upon it further as we move through the series, but there are three main takeaways. One is the power of legacy. Two is understanding our past, and three is the present is bright. A lot of times we talk about the future being bright, but I want to not get too far behind or too far ahead, to really reflect on where we are today, to really set up the conversation for next week. So first, this idea of the power of legacy. So we delved into the lives of women, as I mentioned, like Mary Ellen Pleasant. She was a savvy businesswoman, a fierce abolitionist. Her dual battle against racial and gender-based discrimination really highlights the resilience required in order to secure, to retain, to grow, and to allow wealth to descend, particularly in the Black community. No small feat when you focus on a group of people who were enslaved for 265 years, if my memory serves me correctly. In fact, in order for the Black population to be out of slavery and enslavement for as much time as they were in, it would take us all the way to the year 2111. None of us will be alive. So everything that has been accomplished by Black people in the United States has happened in less time than the amount of time that Africans were enslaved in America. That is a stunning, stunning fact that I really want us to reflect on, to understand the accomplishments. But we also have to understand the direct connection to the economy. In some of my research, as I'm moving through Michael Harriett's Black AF history, as I'm moving through CAST, doing a lot of research and exploration for my next books, for example, focusing on the origins of Wall Street happening in lower Manhattan, under the Buttonwood Tree and the niche formed by the Buttonwood Agreement. What also took place there, when we talk about the stock exchange, actual physical stock and commodities. that included enslaved persons. In fact, there was a mass burial plot that was unearthed when there was some construction going on in Lower Manhattan, only to figure out that this was this mass grave for slaves that likely died when arriving in that area to be bought and sold. Not even just used as money, but as an asset that could be insured. The lives of slaves being insured, or the use of the enslaved in order to continue to have babies so that there be more property, lower actually than the animals of the field. That is pernicious. And to think of property in that way, full, moving forward to the time period today when we're talking about the nature of digital assets and digital commodities, absent from a centralized or intermediated process that often draws lines real and invisible, but of equal force. And so when I think about someone like Mary Ellen Pleasant, born into slavery, that became the first Black female millionaire in the United States, how her investments supported the abolitionist movement, some of the greatest movements that we know of really came because of her finances. To the point where, between legal battles, a societal backlash, and all of the needs of the movement, she actually died penniless. And it made me pause and think about all of the times that a first generation person, Black, person of color, a woman, for example, anyone that is not um, immediately connected to the privileged class, whatever that happens to mean in a caste system, when you think about being the first, oftentimes, to the extent you actually can make it out of whatever the conditions are, can you hold on to it? Can it grow? And can you distribute it at your death, or do you die penniless? And so that was certainly a cautionary tale that led to some action steps that I shared last night that I want to share with you. One, the importance of diversifying your investments. So, ensuring your portfolio includes a mix of assets to protect against market volatility. The ability to seek legal and financial guidance in order to regularly consult, to make sure we're giving back, but also making sure that our cup is full before the overflow. So often we give and support things with assets or money we don't have, or thinking that we're going to take care of it later. There are things that we can control, and there's a whole world out there we can't. But in what ways can we better position ourselves today to leverage how far we've come, to be able to grow, to protect, but also to distribute at our death, right? What does descendancy look like in the laws of distribution, so that the next generation isn't starting again, and that we don't lose everything that we've amassed in our lifetime. Two, and the second takeaway is about understanding our past. So this the last night's session, I should say, illuminated the systemic barriers caused during the period after Reconstruction. So we had this period of 12 years after the end of slavery, and recently freed, formerly enslaved people were given property, and then the Freedmen's Bank began, not for Black women, but at least for Black men at the time, ways to give Black people some support in order to go from being enslaved to thriving. The skill set was already there, because the reason the enslaved were used to extract their labor for free in order to make this a rich nation, that still went on. It's easy to work in fields and to cultivate and start businesses, etc. And for a period of 12 years, we're participating in government. But for a system that was dependent on cheap or free labor. It didn't sit well from the transfer of wealth from those who had property, for example, to lose that property, not the least of which was the property known as the slave. And so what we see happening after Reconstruction was Black codes leading to Jim Crow and the actual codification and the judicial enforcement of the extraction of wealth on the backs of others. So what does that look like? What words of advice can we take from that experience, thinking, our history is not just about the story of oppression, but also a testament to the strength, the ingenuity of Black people in the face of systemic barriers, the likes of which I can only imagine. And understanding the past is really critical for everyone, not just for Black people. To preach to the converted, but crucial for the navigation of the present as we prepare for the future, especially as we explore new financial landscapes like decentralized digital assets in the new economy. And so action steps that I shared last night that I also want to share in this episode include educating yourself and others. So committing to learning about the history of Black wealth, where we are in terms of the wealth gap in the United States today, sharing knowledge with your family and with your community, and 2, embracing new technology. You don't have to buy crypto today. In fact, I don't recommend that you invest in anything that you don't fully appreciate and understand. But you shouldn't wait until you understand everything fully. I don't exactly know how my supercomputer of a car runs, but I do know it gets me from point A to point B. And I know who to ask if there's something that goes wrong or when I need more information. We fear what we don't understand. Okay. Also, to use the car again, if I were to jump into a car at 15 years old, that would have been a very short trip. I didn't know how to drive. I also didn't have a license to drive. It is basically a killing machine when you don't know what you're doing. Now, at 50 something years old, I'm pretty good at driving, right? It's become second nature because of my experience with it over time. Embrace new technologies, explore digital currencies, decentralized finance, also known as DeFi, tools to circumvent traditional financial systems that often have barriers to participation and entry in building wealth as a matter of gaining capital assets that have a return on investment versus high income, for example. And 3, advocate for change. Support policies and initiatives that aim to dismantle systemic barriers to wealth for all systemically marginalized or underestimated folks. And the third and final takeaway before I leave you today: despite the challenges, Black women like Arlen Hamilton, Lynette Calfani Cox, Charlene Federico are forging, Cleve Messidor, forging paths to economic justice in the future in the digital asset economy, showcasing what's possible when we leverage technology to transcend traditional barriers. And so my word of advice there is the successes of those who are making a difference today with a future forward lens. They illuminate the path for other Black women and others in the digital asset economy, and their achievements underscore the possibility and also the potential of technology to level the playing field in ways that humankind and laws have not, right? We have a different avenue for wealth creation, protection, accumulation, growth, either by investment and innovating in the new economy as well. So what are the action steps there? We have investing in your financial education. You must stay informed, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. A little every day. It's like learning a new language. But this evolving and emerging digital space, this digital economy, is moving extremely fast. But you today have far more resources. First of all, you have me. Not to toot my own horn, but you have me. You have this series for free 99. Go to advantageevans.com/women in wealth. Sign up for free today and participate in all of the events. Go to digitalmoneydemystify.com. Plenty of free resources and others, coaching, community content. There's so many free resources, and also high level for high impact. You want high level, so many glossaries and YouTube University, this podcast, so many ways for you to learn so that you can earn and stay ahead of the curve. It's not too late. In fact, we're still relatively early, even though we saw Bitcoin as of earlier today, or I think it was, earlier this week, or maybe Wednesday evening, Thursday morning, reach its new all-time high. So that little asset, they said was only for criminals and was here today, gone tomorrow, and was a scam and was a fad. Somebody should have told Bitcoin, that's been around since January 3rd, 2009. It's not going anywhere. You now have access to a Securities and Exchange Commission approved asset, a wrapper, an exchange traded fund that trades on the underlying price of Bitcoin. There is no excuse not to have some small exposure to the crypto economy. Many inventors and innovators and startups in the space on the stock side. So there's so many different ways that you can participate, building and pivoting your own profession in that direction. So many ways. We've got to keep moving. No one's coming to save us. We always got. And with that, we can do extraordinary things together. Network and collaborate. That's number 2. Connect with like-minded people in a community. Everything sounds great or terrible in isolation. You need the support of community to move through this as well. So networking can lead to valuable partnerships, opportunities, information, a continuing education. And finally, 3, take calculated risks. Nothing worth anything doesn't involve some type of risk. Stated more simply, everything of value involves some type of risk. It's not about removing risk or avoiding risk, but understanding your risk tolerance, your age, your stage, your goals, and diversifying your portfolio and your approach so you don't have all of your proverbial and actual eggs in one basket. But don't shy away from exploring investment opportunities. When you invest, you are seeking a return on investment. When you go work for someone else, you trade your time for money. My ability to invest in assets and to create opportunities for wealth far exceeds my ability to trade time for money. They're 24 hours in the day. And at some point, evidently, I have to sleep and eat, work out, and mind my Black-owned business. So take calculated risks, do your research, connect with a community, due diligence will save you. A clear understanding of the risks involved allows you to make educated choices and prudent choices as you are building. So final thing is we look forward to sessions 2 through 4. We will continue to build on these insights. The next session focuses on the present, the entrepreneur, Black women in today's economy, walking the gauntlet. And we'll assess the current financial climate for Black women and tap into the Ariel Schwab Black Investor Survey back from 2022, debunk some myths, reinforce a positive financial mindset. And the series final point is more about just talking. It's a community coming together to empower each other in our financial journey. So if you haven't registered, you know what to do. AdvantageEvans.com/women and wealth. And also share it with your networks and friends. Also visit youtube.com, the Advantage Evans channel. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and also share that content. I have everything from this podcast in full and also shorts. I have blurbs. I have, partridge in the pear tree. Everything you could ever want to know, I have covered on that channel. And if you want to know more information about a topic and you don't see it there, hit me up on social media. It's kind of my favorite thing other than this topic, and I'll be sure to connect with you. And for a deeper dive, Digital Money Demystified is available at Harriett's Bookshop and wherever books are sold. This is an essential guide for navigating the digital asset space with confidence. It's an easy read. I even share my journey through this rabbit hole experience. A very risk averse person. I know you can't tell given the subject matter, but it's really, really true. So I welcome your feedback on the book. Please, if you have received it, if you've read the book or you're reading it and you have enjoyed it, please go over to Amazon.com and leave a 5-star review. If you don't like it, don't go over there and leave a review. Only if you like it, and only if you like it so much that you are willing to leave a 5-star review. All right. Okay. Thank you for tuning in. Remember, knowledge is power. And in the realm of digital assets and wealth, it is the key to unlocking our collective financial freedom. So let's continue to learn, leverage, and thrive together. Until the next episode of Tech Intersect, be good to yourself and others and take good care. I'm going to hold you to it. All right. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.